Yeah. If you're a developer right there who is still using Ionic native script, you are doing the wrong way. You have to go to this hybrid. They are much better.
Yeah, there you go, Marshall again. I think the controversies.
But for the shorter ones, we just want to kill two birds with one stone. We're gonna use the hybrid frameworks. So also that's another thing. So this for now we've talked about the expertise within the team.
Given the example that I'd given, that I'm a small company probably, and my budget is obviously small, I would uh, definitely I should choose.
Are you a JavaScript developer? Because those
Exactly.
web developers
Web developers go
are
straight
not
to
to
React.
React Native,
Yeah.
and on their CV they just updated I know mobile application development because they know how to write CSS,
The
JavaScript,
HTML, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
import the.
So in my native language, usually say Manichimuti, like they have the stick.
Do you know that there are also
Yeah,
Python
yeah.
frameworks that we
That
can develop hybrid
hybrid
application with
applications.
Python, but we don't want people to use those frameworks.
We don't want to go to those frameworks that are being tested as Marshall tries to cause confusion. Yeah.
And
Marshall.
no.
Right, welcome to another episode of Code with Bisky. Today we have a conversation around mobile application development. So today I have with me Brian and Marshall, who are experienced mobile application developers. They have vast experience in the industry, including fintech and other areas. So I would like Brian to introduce yourself, then Marshall after Brian. Introduce yourself, your experience with mobile application development, and brief introduction to where we are coming where mobile application development is coming from. Okay, Brian, you can take it.
Thank you, Tapua. Seasoned software engineer. Like you mentioned, I've been in the mobile industry for quite some time. I think I'm clocking in for 7 years now. Started as an Android software engineer, then moved on to iOS, then eventually just mobile development. But the last 2 to 3 years, I've been a full stack developer. I've been all over the place, touching everything that comes along my way. Yeah, basically, that's a brief introduction about myself and my history as a software engineer. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Marshall, you can introduce yourself also. Thank you, Brian, for the detailed introduction there.
I'm Marshall, a senior full stack engineer. I've been developing mobile applications for a while. I started as a native Android application developer and then moved to iOS where I was using Swift, not the Objective-C. And then I moved to hybrid application development. And I've been developing mobile application for fintech, dating applications, e-learning applications. So you can check out more applications that I developed on Google Play Store and Apple App Store. The links will be in the description.
Thank you so much, Marshall and Brian, for the introduction. So yeah, let's just jump into it. Let's start with the current landscape of mobile app development. How has it evolved? Where is it coming from and where is it going? Where are we right now with mobile application development? Just a brief introduction to how you have experienced mobile application development, its growth and its evolving. Brian, you can go on.
Thank you, Tapio. Like mobile application development has actually seen tremendous growth from the days it started. I remember, let's start probably with Android. Came in around 2008. That's where it was commercially out there for people. Also, iOS was around 2007, where it actually came in commercially with people. So the growth when people started using these frameworks, people starting getting into it. So I think necessity now came in and actually made people realize that no, we're actually wasting our time in just being native. We need something else that will probably help us in the time in terms of speed, in terms of actually resources. So that's key that came in hybrid application development. So when hybrid application development came in, it came in with PhoneGap. I remember PhoneGap was the first of all the hybrid frameworks that we have. That then changed to Kotova. Then after that came in the likes of Flutter, Native Script, React Native, and also Xamarin. So that has been the growth of mobile applications since the inception of mobile application development till now. So now we have two sides of mobile application development where we have native and also where we have hybrid.
Okay, thank you so much, Brian, for the detailed introduction there. Marshall, do you have anything to add on that before I go into detailed information about the native and hybrid application development that Brian mentioned? Marshall, you can add some information to the introduction.
Yeah, I remember those days. Yeah, it was difficult to develop mobile applications because the documentations were not that good, especially for Android. But they tried by all means to write a better documentation. And those days we were relying on few YouTube videos, and it was difficult. And no one was talking about hybrid because Google were now focusing on the Android, and we're using Java and the XML for UI. I think right now it has evolved. They are no longer using XML. I don't know. I can't remember what they are using right now. Is this what Composer or something?
Yeah, Composer.
Because we are now focusing on hybrid. So I'm very sorry for that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for the introduction and letting the world know how mobile application development has evolved. So I've picked something when you were discussing something. I think Brian and Marshall, both of you mentioned something about native and hybrid application development. So for me, who is not into mobile application development, these are new terms to me. Would you please explain to me, as someone who is not experienced, who is just using these mobile applications as a user, what is native application development? What is hybrid application development? What are the fundamental differences? Like what is it that constitutes a native, and what is it that constitutes a hybrid application development? So yeah, up to you guys.
So yeah, thank you to Biwa with the question. So when we look at native and hybrid, we're looking at the platforms that we are using for that. I'll start with native. Native is focusing on the operating system. In this case, let's say we're developing specifically for an Android application. We're developing specifically for an iOS application. Android being your Android and also your Kotlin. iOS being your Swift and also the old Objective-C. So now shifting now to hybrid. Now we have one code base that is going to produce a lot of um, operating systems, I would say. So we have one code base that is gonna bring that is gonna give us an iOS application, that is gonna give us an Android application, and also Windows application. I remember I used to write in Ionic. It also gave me iOS, Android, and Windows. So that's the main difference where we're saying hybrid is specifically for that specific operating system, different code base from iOS, but now with native. Now with hybrid, now it's just one code base that is giving us different operating systems here. So basically, how I would explain what native and hybrid is. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Brian, for differentiating the two. Now I understand. I think from what you have said, I've picked up that nowadays using hybrid application development, I'll only need to write code once and probably deploy on two different platforms the same application. Is that what you were explaining, Brian?
Yes, exactly. So there's no need of you having two separate code bases for just one application. You just have one code base that is gonna talk to two different applications. Compiling time is just gonna compile for specifically Android, and it's gonna compile for specifically iOS. Yeah.
Okay, so that means we're gonna have shorter delivery times, and it's cost effective also. So it means we are not going to hire two developers, one for Android, one for iOS. Just one developer or one team will be building two applications at the same time. So yeah, that's great. So that leads me to the next probably next question, which I need your answer here, guys. So I have my small organization. Okay, let's just say an organization. What should I consider for me to choose between native and hybrid? What are the advantages probably? What are the effects behind the two? Like, at what point should one choose native, and at what point should one choose hybrid application development for their mobile application as a company?
Thank you, Tabo, again. So, like I explained, that native is basically for a certain operating system, and a hybrid is gonna produce from one code base, different operating systems, I would say. So, choosing what framework to choose, it mainly comes with the team. Let's say we're looking at the expertise within the team. Is the team well versed in native development, that is Swift for iOS, or Android, Kotlin for Android? Also, is the team knowledgeable about, let's take for example, let's say Flutter, let's say Xamarin, let's say React Native. React Native is written in JavaScript mainly. Is the team knowledgeable in JavaScript? If yes, then we're gonna obviously go with hybrid. Is the team knowledgeable in that is Flutter? Obviously, we're gonna go with that route. Xamarin, is it C sharp or .NET? That also constitutes also the within the team that you have. Are they knowledgeable about the languages that you're gonna use in writing the code? And also, how long do you want the development process to take? Is it gonna be a very long period, or it's gonna be a short? Usually, those lengthy development periods usually come in with the native development. But for the shorter ones, we just want to kill two birds with one stone. We're gonna use the hybrid frameworks. So also that's another thing. So for now, we've talked about the expertise within the team. We've talked about the time frames. Also comes in with the expenses or the cost that comes in with developing the mobile application. Because imagine I have two developers, one for Android and one for iOS. You're gonna pay all of them because they're writing two separate applications, totally different, but producing one thing. But now this is gonna cost the company. This will need big companies, that will actually be budget friendly to whatever's going on. Compare now to hybrid, where you just probably need one developer that is gonna just give you both applications.
Yeah, yeah.
So also that's something to consider. Is the mobile application that we want to develop going to be as good to our pockets as a company, or it's not going to be good to our pockets?
Okay.
Yeah. And also looking at also performance. So some applications that really need actually good performance. Let's take for example an application like Facebook. Facebook is written in React. It's capitalizing on JavaScript. It's capitalizing on the web technologies that are underlining. So when one looks at that, to be like, okay, so this app is actually performing well as expected. So performance also will lead to what application you would choose, what framework you would choose for that specific application. Yeah.
Okay. I think that is so much detailed. So there are quite a number of issues to consider when you want to.
To drill down on maybe the top considerations that a company would look into. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, guys. So it means since I probably given the example that I'd given, that I'm a small company probably, and my budget is obviously small, I would definitely I should choose a hybrid application development, because that then matches my pocket. So yeah, thank you so much for that differentiation. So probably that would lead us to the next point, which is so important to me as a company owner. Can you give us some examples of the popular frameworks used in native versus those that are used in hybrid application development? I just want to know which stands on which side. Probably, I've heard you mentioning about about Swift and Objective C and something else. So I just need to know, maybe some of the viewers would want to understand where Swift goes. Is Swift part of native? Is it part of hybrid? Then the one that you said, Objective C, and whatever. We just want to be clear on those ones.
So native iOS, that is Apple, to be specific. So native iOS that comes from Apple, it's written on Swift.
Okay.
That is the main language that they use. So it has transformed from Objective C to Swift. That is basically for iOS. Now for Android is Kotlin. They used to write in Android, but also it's been shifted to Kotlin. So they now use Kotlin. That is basically native Android. That is used for native Android development. Kotlin is the main language. Now we're moving to hybrid. Hybrid now comes in with let's just name the big three in hybrid frameworks. So we have Flutter, we have React Native, and we have Xamarin. Xamarin is from Microsoft. Microsoft, they write with C# and .NET. That is the language that is behind Xamarin. Then React Native comes from Facebook. They use the main language is JavaScript. That is the one that they use. Then comes in Flutter, which is from Google. They use Dart. That is the main language that they use. Yeah. So basically, that's hybrid and native.
Okay, thank you so much, Brian. So I think you have clarified the two. Now I understand, as someone who is not a developer, or someone who doesn't have experience in mobile application development. So there's this belief that Java developers have, that Java can write anything. So from what you have explained, now it means I cannot write an application in iOS using Java. Is that what?
Yeah, you cannot do that.
Okay, for our Java developers out there, including Marshall.
No. You can. Since we talked about this hybrid with Java, yeah, I'm Java. I'm a Java guy. You can use the framework called Codename One. In that one, you can develop your hybrid applications with that. So you can check out Codename One, but it's not popular. So Java is also into this hybrid application development.
Yeah, but now the big question comes in with yes, Java can write something hybrid it can
Yes.
do like whatever hybrid whatever.
Mm.
But is it something that is coming up, or is it something that is already in the market, or is it something that people out there are actually using and actually seeing the performance and actually seeing its growth and actually recommending it, or is just one of those other things that we eventually die along the way? Because we've seen these examples before, where these hybrid companies come in, they fail along the way, then they just die a natural death. So I would love to say we want hybrid applications to be done with the frameworks that are already existing, that are already there, that have proven, that people are actually crediting, that we actually see that no, there is evident examples of good applications that are out there right now that people are using and that people are liking. I'll just give you an example. I'll ask you an example. The one that you've just, I didn't actually get the name. What applications are there that this framework of Java is using, that the applications that are already there that people are using and that people are happy with that?
With this code name one, I think it was just a concept, or the guys failed, because when you are developing this application, you must have a backbone. Like you have to know who is supporting your framework.
Your framework, yeah.
So this code name one guys, they failed. I think the community also failed. And with the Java, there's a lot involved in writing code in Java. And the UI, sometimes we are forcing to do things with a language that is not suitable for that.
Yeah.
So I was trying to mention that there are also Java frameworks that are there that can develop hybrid applications.
Yeah.
Even Python. Do you know that there are also Python frameworks that you can develop hybrid applications with Python? But we don't want people to use those frameworks. They are not designed for this.
For that.
Yeah. So right now, I think the framework that we are talking more about, like React Native, Flutter. If you want to go to native, if you choose Kotlin Java for Android, iOS Objective-C for Swift, you are okay.
You're good.
But we are now in the world of hybrid application development.
And also for those Java developers, .NET developers out there that are saying, I want to move, or I want to shift to mobile development, I think it won't be difficult for a Java developer to start writing code in that, because it's pretty much the same. Looking at the code, looking at class structure, looking at how the objects are arranged and everything like that, it's just the same. So you won't really find any difficult. So I just think like those guys who are really interested in getting into mobile development from a Java background, just go straight for that. That is Flutter. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for those insights. Yeah, Marshall is always controversial as usual. All our fans know him as controversial as he is. So, but he always loses the conversation. Anyway, now maybe you guys, you should now give me one framework that you think stands out as the leading one, and why do we think that is the best framework for mobile application development today? So we don't want to go back to what if was being used yesterday. We don't want to go to those frameworks that are being tested, as Marshall always tries to cause confusion. Yeah.
Unknown.
Yeah, Marshall is always like that.
That are under the rag that
yes.
nobody knows.
Yeah.
For now, to be honest, I think Google has. So in my native language, usually say Manichimuti, like they have the stick.
Yes.
I think Google right now have the stick with Flutter. Why I'm saying it is actually shown very good performance the last years, and also it coming in with the widgets that it has. It actually has given the user interface the best user interface that you can get from a mobile application, and also it has the backing of Google. What language you wouldn't want the backing of Google, and that when you backed with Google, everything is going to be just good for you in terms of the RD, in terms of injection of capital, all that. You're just good. But also looking at that, React Native is also backed with Facebook. And also Facebook is also, it's not just something you could just turn a blind eye on. It's actually a very big powerhouse in terms of the industry, and also in terms of the technology. So for me, I would choose Flutter, but also React Native has actually the community. The community compared to native Flutter, yeah, it's way bigger. So choosing now between the two languages, I would go for Flutter, but there are also way good advantages of React Natives compared to Flutter. That for a person, I think it all comes down to the fact that what do you like? Are you a Facebook fan or are you a Google fan? Obviously, you're gonna go for React.
And also,
Yeah,
like, are you a JavaScript developer? Because
exactly.
those web developers
Web developers go
are
straight to React.
React Native,
Yeah.
and on their CV they just updated no mobile application development because they know how to write CSS,
The
JavaScript.
HTML,
Yeah, import the
Yeah.
JavaScript.
And also
SDK.
React Native is not very difficult to import or create a new project from. It's very easy. It's easy
Yeah.
to learn compared to Flutter.
Yeah, in Flutter, it's because of you have to know that.
You have to know
But
that.
if you know languages like Java,
Yeah.
that is easy.
That is easy.
If you know just Java, you can know every language. If you know Python, you can write Java code. These are things that you have to know before you start developing mobile application development. Which language do you know first? If you're a mobile guy, a web developer, you go for React Native. But you are a real developer, you can go for that.
You can go
Marshall is
for
begging
Flutter
beg
that.
again with his statements.
No, that's actually true because I think of all the languages that we have, we don't want to just say specific language or anything, but we have actually seen that in terms of languages, Java is actually, it has given us a lot. And from being a Java developer, you won't really find difficult to maneuver across the whole ecosystem of development. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, guys, for the detailed explanation of the differences between the two frameworks or platforms, as you mentioned. So my next question between the two is probably I'm using a certain version of the application, and I want to upgrade to a certain version, to the newer version or to the latest version. Would you go into detail on the differences of probably the complexity comparing the two, the native and the hybrid frameworks? If you're moving from version 1 to version 2, what are the complexities? What are the differences? What would you mention as the best platform to choose in terms of complexity of upgrading?
Thank you for that question, Tapia. And in terms of complexity, when you're migrating your application from one version to another, especially hybrid application, it's much easier because there are tools and documentation for that. I remembered there was a time when I was given a task to upgrade from Flutter 2 to Flutter 3. I think if you're a Flutter developer, you know that pain. Yeah, but it wasn't difficult and it was easy to migrate that version. But when it now comes to native application development, it's very complex to migrate from one version to another. If they change, like the platform SDK, some of the things have been removed, so it's going to be difficult to migrate to migrate to a new version with the native applications.
Yeah, like you mentioned about Flutter migration. I remember I think it was now safety where there was that shift from not using now safety to now using now safety. The change isn't really that difficult and isn't really that big. Yes, you might you might encounter some a bit of difficulty in there, but it's not as difficult as probably your native applications. I remember when I had to change from I think it was Swift 4 to Swift 3 to Swift 4,
not
Swift 2 to Swift 3.
Yeah,
it was hell. I had to actually change the whole application, rewrite the whole application, and start from fresh because just migrating probably just the dependencies that we used, the APIs that were being called within. I remember it was what's this one that we use for network calls. You remember? Alamofire, exactly. It was that change from two to three. It was just crazy. So for me, like mentioned, Marshall, the way Marshall explained it, that native applications, they're a bit difficult to migrate compared to the hybrid. That's why hybrid right now is taking over the world. Hybrid is taking over basically everything in terms of mobile application development. So yeah. It's very difficult for native. Not really difficult, but comparing the two, hybrid is better than native. Yeah.
Okay, so if I understood you well, Brian, you're saying in both worlds there are challenges, but the challenges are better in hybrid compared to native.
Yes. If you are a developer right there who is still using Ionic native script, you are doing the wrong way. You have to go to this hybrid. They are much better.
Yeah, there you go, Marshall again. I think the controversy is kicking
But
again.
Marshall, like let's just have a quick conversation. Why did native script fail? Why did Ionic fail? What really happened? What is the main reasons? What are some of the main reasons for that?
When you are developing mobile applications, sometimes it's difficult to debug a problem.
Yeah.
Sometimes it will be a platform problem, or it can be a code problem. So these frameworks, it was very difficult. You can spend the whole day trying to debug a simple thing because
Native
they are
script.
this native script project, this native script framework or Ionic. Yeah. Then the other thing, like trying to access the hardware of a phone.
Of the phone.
Yeah, it was difficult.
Yeah.
Let's take for Ionic, because for Ionic it's like an application
It's
runs
web
in a
view.
web view.
Yeah.
So it was difficult to access like the hardware, the camera, the what. And the other thing, you must not forget about community.
Yeah, community.
The community of these frameworks were very small. So it means you are going to have less libraries. So the community were not contributing as compared to this Flutter and React Native.
And also the time to resolve a certain error or an issue. No,
Yeah.
but you take ages to get somebody to come in and
Yeah,
help
sure.
with that.
But I didn't mention about performance.
Performance was a disaster.
Yeah, you can click a button. The application is like
It freezes.
Yeah, freezes. Then after 1 second, you can see it processing.
Yeah.
So to me, we can't go for that.
Yeah.
And even the organization, they were not now want to adopt this native script and Ionic because of people were not more into hybrid application development.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of controversy of hybrid application development. So no one would want to participate into hybrid
In the light, yeah.
until Facebook and Google came into play with better frameworks like React Native and Flutter. So that's why people now goes to these latest frameworks.
Yeah. I think that's true because for me, debugging is it's one of those big contributors to how I would love or like to work with a certain framework, because without debugging, then you're just gonna be on the down spiral. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So maybe as we run to our conclusion, maybe we should go into success stories, case studies, like who is using what, who is using React Native in the world, and who is using Flutter, as you mentioned, and who is using native applications, so that someone who is interested in training mobile application development will know who they are following, who did this before them. So maybe you could give us examples of who is using React Native, who is using Flutter, who is using native applications in the world.
Yeah, looking at the I want to divert a little bit to that question, and I'll come back to it. I just want to mention this. Looking at the current um, ecosystem of mobile application development, or currently where we have seen a lot of like the way the explanation that I gave initially. We have seen a lot of changes in terms of mobile application development. We now have AI. We now have AR. Now we have VR. Those have actually leveraged how users have accepted mobile applications and mobile application development. Let's just take, for example, Spotify. I'll go straight to Spotify. Spotify is a native application that is written natively Android, iOS. Spotify, looking at it, let's take for example introduction with AI. What AI could really do to Spotify. You are a user. AI comes in to help the user. It generates whatever it generates, collect whatever it collects. Let's take for example, I'm a fan of a certain female artist. I will mention name. I listen to her music. The next thing, AI integrated within my application is now recommending a certain song. That is AI for you on a native application. That is actually it's actually interlinking very well AI and the native application. Now also for native application we have the likes of WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a native application up developed natively with your Android and your iOS. Yeah. And also let's now shift to hybrid mobile applications. Hybrid mobile applications developed in Flutter. In Flutter we have Google Pay, one leading payment application that is widely used. We also have Alibaba, one of also the biggest application that is used for purchases, for buying and all that. React Native. React Native has let's take for example a certain genre, I would say, in terms of applications. It's solely on the social media where a lot of people use the application because obviously it's Facebook. So React Native as Facebook, as your Instagrams. So when people now compare the two frameworks, they'll say, no, why then is React Native having these big applications compared to Flutter? Because of Facebook. That is my conclusion when it comes to that. So yeah, basically these are some of the applications that are there in the market that these frameworks have given us.
Yeah, Brian, you forgot about Airbnb. So I'm thinking to go to a holiday in Brazil. So I need
Yeah.
Airbnb.
Airbnb.
Yeah,
So
it was
Airbnb is based on
React Native.
React Native.
Yeah, those are some of the popular applications out there. And but if you go to Southern Africa, where I came from, most of the mobile banking applications they are using Flutter.
Yeah.
And the community down there, it's for Flutter development.
Flutter
Even school, like students on
School
universities,
projects.
yeah, their projects are written in Flutter. It shows that people are now developing applications with Flutter. Yeah,
Yeah, I think Flutter is taken over because it's just too easy to produce applications. It's not as difficult as your native application. That's why almost everyone is just going for Flutter. But also like the argument that I gave, why then React Native is the biggest applications that are out there compared to Flutter? Flutter only have your Google Pay, your Google Ads, you know,
Alibaba.
to name a few. But now React Native is saying no. I have I have Airbnb, I have Instagram, I have Facebook, of which these are the apps that are being used like by a whole lot of people, you know. So it's an argument for another day. But yeah. Flutter is the best, but React Natives have given us the best apps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for quite a detailed discussion there. And fortunately, Marshall has come to a point where he agrees with someone in a discussion. It's not too controversial today. So, yeah, now let's just jump into our conclusion. Thank you so much, guys, for the discussion. And do you have any final advice for our listeners, for someone who's trying to join the mobile application development, or for someone who's just trying to develop their own application as a company? Like, what are your parting words? Start with Marshall.
Yeah, if a new developer want to go into this world of mobile application development in 2024 and beyond, I think you can choose hybrid application, either Flutter or React Native. As for me, I would just choose a Flutter because I'm a Google guy also. It's backed by Google. And if you have knowledge with the JavaScript, you can choose React Native. These both the frameworks, they are good on mobile application development. And for the companies to choose the framework between the two, it now depends with the experience of their team members, as discussed earlier by Brian. And budget also is included when you are developing these applications. Yeah, there's a lot involved when developing these applications. For you can choose also native applications. Yeah, it's good you can go for native application because there are people like organization who prefers native application development. They are not worried about money, about budget, about experience. They can hire everyone in the world. So it's up to you. You can go for the native application, but out there, people are more focusing on the hybrid application development. One code base runs on many platforms, either web, iOS, Android, Linux, Windows, everywhere. Just say everywhere. Even the iOS, the OS from Huawei, Harmon OS, this Flutter can do that. Yeah. So it's up to you to choose which framework would you love.
Yeah. So for me, I would differ a bit with Marshall, because for me, I would like for one who's trying to start out as a mobile developer to start with the native application path. Why? Because this will help you leverage when you're now creating your hybrid applications. Because you now know the basics within native. You now know which SDK that I'm calling for a camera, which SDK that I'm calling for a microphone, which SDK that I'm calling for weather, for for maps, all that. So this will help you now when you're now knee deep in a hybrid application, compared to just getting into hybrid application where then you have to go back to native and refer to some concepts that probably you don't understand or you don't know. So for me, guys, go straight for native, then move on to into hybrid. Not get in detail with native, just know some concepts, know some details about them, know what you need to have in terms of this type. For example, I'll give this example. You've set up the hybrid application for yourself, but you know what comes in with running an Android application. You know what comes in with running an iOS application. But you've gone through the basic of running just a basic iOS application. You know you've installed your Xcode. You know you have your emulators running up there. You know how to to sign the keys to the Apple Store. You know how to create an APK, in Android. That is just some of the knowledge that will help you in when you get in now to hybrid. Not that hybrid doesn't give you that, or it's not well explained, but it's just something that you now go into. It's just a walk in the park for you, because already you have that knowledge. Yeah. And also for companies, big companies don't even care about what budget they have. They'll just go straight and hire the best iOS app developer there, the best Android app developer there. But for those startups, they'll really need to leverage on the costs. They really need to leverage on also on the performance, of the applications and for the frameworks.